You cannot be sick enough to heal the sick. You cannot be in pain enough to heal those that are in pain. You cannot suffer enough to heal those in suffering. The only frequency, the only energy that heals is love. And so the more that you allow yourself to be in that space where you're feeling that love move through you, where you're creating from that place of love, the more you are uplifting humanity, the more that you are in fact in service to those that are suffering, that are in pain, that are in sick. It is actually raising them up. And so this is why I feel like it's so important for us all to be focused on how am I feeling right now? Because right now is where we have the most power to impact anything. And if you can find yourself in that place of love, it's miraculous. Mountains move.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the High Energy Women Summit. I gave my heart to bringing up speakers all around the world who share their wisdom to help you feel full of vitality each day, live with more energy, joy, and ease, so you can step confidently into your full power and thrive in your business and life. Please let me introduce my today's guest. Sophia Mona Lisa is an alchemical creation high priestess and a shamanic priestess of the Magdalene Mystery School, founded by Nicole Christine, a certified Bread of Love practitioner, a certified Yara practitioner, and a solfeggio sound therapy practitioner. She has been an ordained minister through the Universal Life Church since 2003. As a Sophia code holder, her sole purpose is to assist births in transitioning from separation consciousness to unity consciousness. Sophia Mona Lisa is the founder of both the Golden Ray Center, an Aquarian Age Goddess Temple established to restore the culture of sovereignty and sacred relationship, and the Roseville Mystery School, an Aquarian Age Mystery School under the umbrella of the Golden Ray Center. She teaches both sacred feminine and sacred masculine classes through the Mystery School. Hello, welcome. I'm so glad that we are going to have a conversation today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, everything about you looks like mystical. So let's dive deeper into this, and let's look at how we can use that in our everyday life. You are, or maybe at first, just please share what are you doing? What's your work, and we can then connect it with our everyday life and with our joy and everything. What is the point of this summit?
Sure, absolutely. So in general terms, I consider myself to be a life coach, but I like the word life in capital letters, L-I-F-E, all capitals, meaning, this journey that we're all here as a part of as human beings, life. And so how can we be coached in this life? Because we show up as babies, we don't have a manual on how to do this. Or so we think, we don't have a manual on how to do this. And so for me, I use the tool astrology as a manual, because from my perspective, the natal chart that we are born with, which is very much dependent on where all of the luminary bodies are in the sky at the exact time and place that we were born, creates what I perceive to be a soul map, a map to everybody's individual unique soul. And we could even go so far as to expand that into, say, as a multi-dimensional eternal being. And so when you start to dip your toes into that arena, into that energy, that eternal energy, and start to get to know yourself on that level, It's incredibly empowering.
Wow.
It's empowering because all of the things that you've known about yourself that no one outside of you ever reflected back to you, not your parents, not your best friends, not your teachers, not your greatest lover. Nobody has reflected these pieces of yourself back to you, but you know this about yourself. And so it's the most validating and empowering knowledge that I have come across in my work.
It's so interesting because for so many people, like astrology is something like woo-woo, and how could something, in the sky just tell something about me when I'm here and it's there. And it's so, can you please explain more like how this is connected with our life?
Certainly. So a lot of people are beginning to realize, and even in quantum physics, they talk about the fact that we're really energy. We're not physical beings, or some people may have heard the expressions, we're spiritual beings having a human experience, that we're really just energy. And in quantum physics, they talk about the entanglement, that we're all one. And this is very much at the heart of the work that I do, using the energies of what the different luminary bodies that I choose to work with represent to me. And many of the luminary bodies, the energies that I work with have to deal with archetypical energies. So many people will be familiar with Carl Jung's work and the work that he's done around archetypes. And so I just have kind of taken that understanding to a whole new level where I tap into the archetypes and I discern, what does this archetype want to share with me? And what is this luminary body that is related to this archetype desiring to share with me? And so I've gotten whole new pieces of wisdom around these energies that other astrologers are not yet talking about. And I find that it's very, very personal to the person that I'm speaking to in terms of the dance, the cosmic dance, how it's related to them personally. So you can think of like a snowflake. Every snowflake is completely unique in its design. And so are we. And so when we come here to Earth and we're thinking, well, what is my mission? What is my purpose? What is my passion? What really turns me on? These energies are a way that we can tap into that infinite knowing about who we are and what it is that really inspires us to live in joy, to live that expanded life.
Exactly. And this is the point, to live in joy. So anything that can help us to do that and just live in joy, it's really, really helpful. And so you have your way how to help people to tap into that.
Yes. Yes. And other people are great sculptors or great painters, or tremendous chefs. They make art with chef, or phenomenal musicians, but they're all using energy to create something that moves us, that makes us feel inspired, that makes us feel alive. And that's what I'm tapping into, but in just a completely different way.
So interesting.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you mean that you can read from the chart everything about a person?
Well, what happens is when I look at a person's chart, Of course, it looks like a two-dimensional image to them, but it's really kind of like a telephone for me. It's like picking up the phone and saying hello. And who they are as a soul being, that greater self that's incarnated in this body, starts to speak to me. And we use a similar language. I call it a soul language, where by looking at what's on their chart, I'm hearing from them what it is that they most need to know about themselves in that particular moment. And so it really just comes through me, and it's not like channeling. It's really a conversation, my soul speaking to their soul, and I'm just the translator. And so what'll happen is if I read for people regularly, I won't remember what I've said before. In fact, I've often had people say, remember when you said this and it came true? And I'll say, I have no recollection of saying that, but I'm very happy for you. And because in any moment, whatever they need to know will come up. So I can be looking at exactly the same thing, but I get deeper and deeper levels of wisdom around it based on what they are ready to hear, what's going to help them most in moving forward.
I think it's so important, like, to connect people with their soul, because we are so conditioned to think about, okay, what I'm supposed to do, what are the expectations, and we are trained just to think about and trying to figure it out, and it just doesn't work.
Right.
So this connection to the soul, what is your like real purpose here, this is so important to know.
Yes, and people are really connected to their soul. They really are, and they may not recognize it. So if you've ever had an experience where you're getting ready to leave the house and you're in a hurry and you can't find your keys, and you might just mentally think to yourself, where are my keys? And instantly you get an image of where they are and you go there and they're there. That's a communication from your soul, guiding you, letting you know exactly where the keys are. And so people are constantly getting these messages from their soul, their higher self, whatever term resonates with them. But because of this conditioning that you're talking about, they haven't learned to trust that. They haven't learned to rely on it. But when they receive it, they know they can count on it. They know, oh yes, let me go look there. They don't think, oh, I'm going to look everywhere else except for there. They know I'm going to go there and look there, and then there they are. So I just kind of help people to become more confident in what they're receiving, because everybody receives in a different way. And so the word imagination, which is been really dismissed in our culture as something childish, right? Oh, only children imagine, is the key. What can you imagine? What does your imagination, where does it take you? Where does it lead you? And we know that when we find ourselves daydreaming, right, we're using our imagination, how fun that is, how good it makes us feel, how we get these great ideas. And these inspirations are the soul communicating with us. And we've just allowed ourselves to receive that phone call from the soul and to say hello and have that conversation.
Yes, and also from my experience with working with you, it's also like great tool or great confirmation when I feel something, but I'm not sure. I don't know if I should trust, if I can trust my guidance or something. And then you looked at the chart and like, okay, now it's time to do this or that. And in your life now is like just these things are, and I understood like, yes. So what I felt, it was right. My guidance is okay. I can
Yes.
trust that.
Yes, absolutely. So this, what you're tapping into there is another piece of the equation, and that's our feelings, especially for women. Women in the workplace are called emotional, as if it's some kind of horrific label to wear. But everybody uses their feelings to guide them where it is that they need to go. But the culture, again, just like it's cut us off from our imagination as childish, it's cut us off from our feeling self as just being hysterical, the hysterical woman, right? And so when you get back in touch with what you're feeling and you understand that language, and I call it the heart language. And this is actually something that's evolving in humanity right now, where we are coming back in tune with our heart language. It's a kind of telepathy that people have often heard about, but it's not a mind to mind communication. It's a heart communication. And so what a certain feeling may translate to me in terms of guidance, that same feeling for you may translate differently. And so really you're going back to what you said, that confidence, having confidence in what I am feeling, having confidence in the visions, the inspirations, the dreams that I'm receiving. That's a language that humanity is in the process of relearning. And I just help people translate and become more confident in it. And we know in life, when we feel more confident, when we feel more empowered, we feel more joyful because we feel aligned with life.
Exactly. And this is the point, to just be more joyful and
Yes,
just stay in alignment. And
exactly.
yes, and when we are talking about like humanity and changes, I know about you that you are doing a work for humanity. Please, can you share about
Yes.
it like more?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I am a person who has always worked on a greater level. Some people work really well in their local communities, whether it's their local church or the local Girl Scout troop or whatever it may be. Other people work really well at the state level, at the national level. For me, I work at the planetary level. That's my community, the planetary level. And so what I'm doing is I'm helping through a project that was given to me. It's called the Galactic New Earth Project. I'm helping to set up a grid system that will be the template, that is the template for this new dimension that we're shifting into. And a lot of people have heard that this ascension process is about shifting from third dimension up to fifth dimension. And right now, a lot of people are experiencing fourth dimension reality and they don't even realize it. So if you're having any experiences of timelessness, or where you're losing track of time, or where you try to think, what is today, Tuesday? Or is it Thursday? And your mind is not able to land on what day of the week it is. These are fourth dimensional experiences because in 4D, there is no time. And so this time, this transition into this fifth dimensional reality requires a grid to be able to embody. And this is the work that I'm doing through the Galactic New Earth Project, setting up this grid to facilitate this transition from the 3D Earth to the 5D Earth.
Wow, it looks a little bit oh yes, it's again, it's like mystical and something like, but I believe that there is like even practical meaning of everything what we can do in our everyday's life
Yes,
with this. So definitely when you were talking about this heart experience, heart connection, this is one thing of that, and maybe you can also name other, like maybe practical things that are
Yes,
connected with it,
yes. And so,
experiences.
yes, absolutely. So the analogy I like to use is that a lot of people are familiar with how musicians will tune their instrument before they play a concert. So you see them tuning the violin, you see them tuning the guitar. Well, human beings, in terms of energy, in terms of frequencies, right? Because when you're listening to music, that's an energy, that's a frequency. Human beings, our physical body is our instrument, and it too is being tuned. It's being tuned by the energies that are becoming higher and higher frequencies. And so the more that you allow yourself to calibrate, calibrate to those energies, calibrate to those frequencies, align with them, the more you start to feel these uplifting emotions, these emotions of happiness, these emotions of being in the right place at the right time, the emotions of being in wonderment whenever you're seeing a child play or the sun setting. And you start to have more and more of your day in that place of feeling very uplifted emotionally. We can relate to that, and it's because our physical instrument has been tuned, it's been calibrated to those higher frequencies, and the expression of those uplifting emotions, the joy, the laughter, the fun, is a manifestation of that calibration to the higher frequencies. And as that happens, your heart opens more and more and more. And people have experienced this particular passage, this particular scripture that goes, "My cup runneth over. My cup runneth over." We've experienced where our heart has just opened and a flood of emotion just seems to pour through us, and the tears seem to come down our face, and we cannot find words for this uplifting emotion that we feel. And we know, my cup, my heart runneth over with these high frequencies, and it's that frequency of love. That's the frequency of the divine love, the unconditional love that is flowing through us. And this is where humanity is being shifted to, and it's happening right now.
Yes, this is exactly what we need, like this love from our heart. Because when you look around in our world, like what's going on, it's there are so many things. You I know that some people think that it's just not right to feel happy when there is war is going on, or there's so much suffering, and how I can be happy when these terrible things are in the world. What would you tell to that?
Well, what I would say is that you cannot be sick enough to heal the sick. You cannot be in pain enough to heal those that are in pain. You cannot suffer enough to heal those in suffering. The only frequency, the only energy that heals is love. And so the more that you allow yourself to be in that space where you're feeling that love move through you, where you're creating from that place of love, the more you are uplifting humanity, the more that you are in fact in service to those that are suffering, that are in pain, that are in sick. It is actually raising them up. And so this is why I feel like it's so important for us all to be focused on, how am I feeling right now? Because right now is where we have the most power to impact anything. And if you can find yourself in that place of love, it's miraculous. Mountains move because of this energy of love. And it happens on the quantum level. I'm going to go back to quantum physics here. It looks miraculous in the 3D, but it's not really miraculous when we're in that open space of love everything in the quantum can come together exactly how we imagine or desire it to be. And then when it shows up here in this reality, it seems to be a miracle, but it's not really. We've created that. We've created that from that, holding that vibration, that attunement, that open heart to love.
Thank you very much for explaining that, because yes, this is what our world just needs.
Yes.
We
Yes.
need to become as happy as possible and just love what is.
Yes, yes. And let me share a real life experience with you that I had one time. And it was spontaneous. A lot of this kind of thing that I'm speaking to happens spontaneously. And sometimes when things happen spontaneously, we don't understand what it's all about. So my hope is that by sharing even this example, when it happens spontaneously to someone else, they may remember this conversation and be able to say to themselves, oh, that's what's going on. So I was traveling one time and I was sitting in an airport waiting for my connecting flight. And so I just went into a restaurant to get a bite to eat. And as I'm sitting at the table, I'm noticing all of these people sitting around tables near me. Some of them were families, some of them were older couples, some of them were just, women. And I began to look at them and imagine to myself, how would I feel about that person if that person were my daughter or that person were my son? And it was just the question, just the musing. And all of a sudden, spontaneously, my heart opened up and everybody that I saw there was my daughter and was my son. And that love, that maternal love that you feel for your child just started pouring through me. And I was instantly in love with all of these people. And I didn't even know who they were. But it was just that simple musing. And then spontaneously, it opened up.
Wow, now as you are talking about it, I can remember that one time I was just driving a car, and in one moment I started to look around. I didn't even ask any question. I just loved everyone, and someone was walking by, and I was like, oh, it was only just a few minutes, and it was spontaneous. So I'm glad that you are talking about it. Yes, exactly. I had the same experience, even without just trying to get there. But
Right,
yes.
right. And oftentimes it happens when we let go. The trying gets in the way. It's the letting go. It's the allowing the spontaneity of it to show up. And what happens is as we get more and more calibrated to that frequency, we have more and more of those kinds of experiences.
Yes, and it was so beautiful, like when you feel love.
Mm-hmm.
It's so, yes. So do you have some advice how we can, tune more into this joy and love and everything, so we can just wrap up this conversation with something tangible and practical?
Sure, absolutely. So a lot of people will have some type of practice in their life, whether it's the practice of going to the gym, every day or 3 times a week to work out, or whether it's the practice of going out for a 5-mile run, or whether it's a yogic practice. It's a practice, and they do it because it brings them home to themselves. And so I recommend meditation, a daily meditation. And you can start with 5 or 10 minutes where you're just closing your eyes and you're just listening to whatever's in the background, and you're just watching your breath, the in breath and the out breath, the in breath and the out breath, just watching it. And 1 minute of being fully aligned is more powerful than our own sun. And it will change complete trajectory of your day to uplift it so that now everything is falling into place for you. And we've experienced this. We get out of bed, we stub our toe, and we think, oh, I got up on the wrong side of the bed. I should just go back to bed. And when you go through your day from that mindset, you're attracting more of that. But if you start your day with a 5, 10, work yourself up to 15 minutes. You don't need more than 15 minutes of just sitting quietly, listening to whatever's around and watching the breath come in and out. It's that simple. And so many people are afraid to try meditation because they think it's some kind of rocket science that you need to know to be able to meditate. And the beautiful part of it is you will naturally fall into that alignment. And as I said, if it happens just for 1 minute and then you're out of it, you have achieved, you have moved the mountain for that day. You have really moved the mountain, cleared the path for your day to be so uplifted.
Yes, that's great. And I love like simple things because as you mentioned, I tried like, I need to, now I have to meditate. I should. So I have to learn that. How is, and I was trying to figure it out. How is it? It's not working. What I should do. And so this is really simple explanation. Like, okay,
Yes.
just
Just
observe.
just sit quietly. There's nothing to figure out. There's nothing to do. Just close your eyes and watch the breath come in and go out, come in and go out. And the rate of the breath is going to change. And if it takes a longer inhale and a faster exhale, whatever it is, it's okay. Don't even try to control the breath. However it's desiring to flow, just watch it.
Exactly. Yes. I also, I know that we all need like more to be instead of just do. You know, we're just human beings, not
Yes,
doings.
exactly.
So
And this is a real gift that we can give ourselves. And maybe it's, you get up, you have your first cup of coffee, you go to the bathroom, right? And then you sit down and do it. It doesn't have to be before you get out of bed. But before you get too far into the day, because what will happen is the mind will start to become engaged with all of the things that are on your to-do list for the day. And then it's hard to rein it back in. So if you do it at the beginning of the day, before you get too far into the day, you will feel like you're having a little more success.
exactly. And even from my experience, even in the day, you know, when you start to feel overwhelmed or anything, just stop and start to breathe at least for a few times. And
Yes.
it can completely change
Yes,
the
it will
day.
shift everything, absolutely everything. And we can do that if we're at the office. We can just take a moment, close our eyes, take a few deep inhales, and start again.
With joy.
With joy.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much for this conversation.
Yeah, I'm
And
happy to have it.
for these useful tips. And just checking, do you have some like last sentence or something for just leave our audience with?
Yes, yes. I would really encourage people to join the Galactic New Earth Project. It's free. You can go to my website, goldenraycenter.com. There's a tab for the 2022 Galactic New Earth Project. And if you sign up for my mailing list, you'll receive notices of when our next Zoom call will be. We're going to be having one on June 26th. We'll be having one at the end of July. And August is a monthly thing, generally around the end of the month. But by signing up on the newsletter, you get those notices and you get the link to the Zoom. And it might be something different. It might be a little woo-woo or mystical for you, but you never know how it may resonate with you when you actually participate. And so I encourage people to join us there.
Okay, and start something new and maybe just be surprised or
Absolutely. Absolutely.
get it a chance.
That's right.
Okay. So thank you very much. Thank you
You're
all for watching and bye.
Bye-bye.
Did you enjoy this conversation? Share that with your friends so they can also benefit from that. Don't forget to claim your free gift so you will get as much value as possible out of this session. You can also take notes on what was your most significant aha moment and what is at least one thing you can start applying today so you can experience more energy and vitality in your everyday life. Enjoy your day and see you by the next episode.